We now turn our attention to boxing and the upcoming fight on the 6th of June, Tyson Fury versus Sefer Seferi. It's going to be held at the Manchester Arena, and it's the big comeback fight for Tyson Fury. Obviously, not many people have heard of Sefer Seferi, and a lot of people were disappointed by who Frank Warren had actually found for Tyson Fury to fight. But at the end of the day, we have to realise he's been out a long time. 2.5 years is a long time out, and he deserves a fight just to find his feet. And that's exactly what this will be. Sefer Seferi is described as a cruiserweight. I think he's been out of action for a certain amount of time himself. I think he's coming off a bit of a layoff. If we have a look at his last fight, it was against someone called Laszlo Hubert. It's this year. 16th of March 2018, so not that long ago, to be fair. So he's fairly active. The fight before that was about a year before. But he's not anyone of any great note. He has fought Manuel Char in September 16, and he lost against Char in a unanimous decision. But I've actually had a look at that fight, and he put on a decent showing. In terms of heart, he doesn't have a tremendous skill set compared to someone like Tyson Fury, but who does? Tyson Fury, great ring IQ, great hand speed, great footwork, and it was those attributes that saw him take out Vladimir Klitschko and win the title on points in 2015. Still, as far as I'm concerned, one of the most amazing feats in boxing. He was an underdog. Klitschko reigning supreme over the heavyweight division for many years. Klitschko having a method of being able to keep opposition at distance and wrestle them, and just basically I was going to say out hustle, but basically his defence is so good, and his holding and his strategy is so tight. It's very difficult to get to Vladimir with that system that Emmanuel Stewart devised for him. And Manny Stewart, rest his soul, is gone many years ago, but that method stayed with Klitschko, and he did very well with it. But Tyson Fury found a way through that riddle. Now, the thing for Fury, he's had his problems. This is going to be just a fight for him to take a few rounds. I don't think he's going to go in there all guns blazing. I think he's going to take a few rounds, get used to being back in the limelight in the ring, and just find his feet. A lot of people were looking for something a bit more impressive, maybe a Shannon Briggs. A name, really. I mean, even Shannon Briggs, you'd expect him to beat Briggs, but it'd be more entertaining. The Let's Go champ, the banter between Fury and Briggs. It would have been a great fight. But we shouldn't write off Briggs anyway. He's not really someone you should have as a warm-up fight. He's someone who's, as Dylan White said, which I agree with a few years ago, is extremely dangerous for 3 rounds. I think Dylan White said that about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, and it still rings true today. If you see Shannon Briggs in action against a lot lesser competition than Fury, he's able to dispose them very quickly. He's got a lot of experience. Obviously, it'd be a hugely different game against Fury, but for 3 rounds, he's in his 40s now, Briggs. Mid-40s, I think he's around 44. But for 3 rounds, he's got some punishing shots. He's got some punishing body shots. I remember when he fought Zarate on one of David Hayes' Dave cards. I think it was when he fought Mark Demori. He got rid of Zarate, and he had some power there. I know it's going to be difficult to land shots. The shots he landed on Zarate on Fury, but for 3 rounds, he's a knockout threat. I think once it goes past 3, 4, 5 rounds, I think Briggs will get tired. Age will catch up with him. But the person they've picked, let's get back to the fight that's on the cards, which is Sefer Seferi. Fury will just dance around, take it easy. I think he'll have too much for Seferi. Fury will look for a knockout, but he won't do it straight off. I think he'll probably look for mid-round knockout. Just a workout. He wants to do it in style, but he wants to find his feet as well. And it's just a fight to get out, have a run out. I don't blame him. Some people are criticising it, but you got to do what you got to do. After you've been after a layout, we've seen people come back from a layoff. Again, David Hay comes to mind, and take it easy. Hay fought Mark Demori, fought Arnold the Cobra Jurjai. I'm not saying Fury will continue in that sort of trajectory. I think he'll face someone a bit tougher after Sefer Seferi. But maybe after this fight, he may look towards a Shannon Briggs or someone of that sort of level. Tony Bellew's been mentioned, but I think if that did happen, it'd be a money fight further down the line. At the moment, Tyson Fury is saying that Bellew's a close friend, and he wouldn't want to hurt him. And Bellew called him out after beating David Haye, because Bellew's got an eye on the big money fights these days. And Fury's definitely a name that's gonna get the gate receipts going and the PPV numbers going. But realistically, I don't see it happening. It could happen next year. It's possible. I don't see it happening right now, but you never know in boxing. When money really talks, that fight would be really interesting. It would get a lot of interest. You'd expect Fury to get rid of Bellew, but we expected David Haye to get rid of Bellew, and look what happened there. And it's a similar situation in terms of layoffs. Fury's coming off an almighty layoff, and with the issues he's been facing, we can't just assume that Fury's going to come back and be as he was. I've made this mistake a few times, or no, let's re-clarify that. We made this mistake with David Haye. We made that mistake one time, thinking that Haye would come back pretty much as he was, and that wasn't the case, as we've seen, with 2 losses to Tony Bellew and 2 wins over lesser opposition in Giorgio and Demori. But Fury, we have to see him. We have to see what the footwork's like. Okay, he's lost a lot of weight. He's come from a big weight. He's moved down. These are big changes to your body. I know it's heavyweight. I know we've seen in the past heavyweight fighters come back after layoffs and perform well, but we need to see each individual case is different. And Tyson Fury's challenges, shall we say, have been mental. They've been physical. Him putting on a lot of weight in his time off, and seems to have got past the physical bit. But let's see him in action. Let's see what he's like in a proper fight, Manchester Arena, under the lights. Let's see how he deals with it. He's been talking a good game. He always does. We've seen David Haye talk a good game after coming off a layoff, but it doesn't mean anything until you see how they perform in the ring. How this one will play out, I'd expect Tyson Fury to take out Sefer Seferi somewhere between the 4th and the 6th round. I don't expect it to go further than that. He'll want to look impressive, and I think he will be. Seferi being a cruiserweight, Tyson Fury's 6'8". Seferi is not a particularly tall guy. I think Manuel Char had a height advantage over him, and Manuel Char isn't a patch on Tyson Fury in terms of height. So, I mean, Char fight is a fight that's been mentioned as well. Char's a name. I mean, he had that fight against Haye, I think it was in 2013 or somewhere along those lines, that got cancelled. Haye pulled out of it. He's been around. He's got victories over the likes of Alexander Ustinov recently. He's scheduled to face Frezzo Kendo in September of this year. He's had a fight against Maurice Bridis. He was knocked out by Bridis, but he's been around. There's a few names on his record. If you look for his record, Michael Grant, an old legend there. Alexander Povetkin beat him. He's fought Johan Dupar, lost to Dupar, lost to Kevin Johnson, who's still going now. He famously lost to Anthony Joshua. You see, he's a name, Charles, so that's one that could come up in the future. I don't think I need to go into any boxing analysis as far as Tyson Fury and Sefer Seferi are concerned, but if you want to know, the odds that are around Tyson Fury 1-41 as an extremely short favourite. You've got the draw at 40-1. You've got Sefer Seferi at 25-1. There's no value there. I think it's one just to watch. I don't think there's any betting opportunities there. You might again look at some group betting if you can get Tyson Fury winning early or mid rounds. That might be worth a go, but betting wise, it's such a skewed match in terms of pedigree and experience, and in terms of experience at heavyweight, which is what this fight will be at, obviously, where it involves Tyson Fury, that there's not much to go by on the betting, but it's one we're going to take it seriously. It's one we need to look at, and the reason I've decided to bring this one up is it's a rare situation. Someone who's been out so long, coming from being a world champion and now fighting at this level, someone coming back from the challenges Tyson Fury's faced. He's someone we've got to watch as well. Obviously, we're hoping Tyson Fury will get back to his best. We want to talk about the likes of Anthony Joshua facing him. We want to talk about the likes of Deontay Wilder facing him. We want to talk about the likes of Dylan White facing him and all these other heavyweights that are around at the moment in this great division, Alexander Povetkin. There's a lot of fights out there for Fury, but let's see how he goes in this one. Let's sit back and enjoy it. Let's analyse it and look at it with regards to future fights. Any comments you have regarding this fight and Tyson Fury's future, please put them in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time.